Congratulations on obviously getting the deal. Just maybe your thoughts that now that you got that. Maybe what was your initial reaction once the Suns matched the Pacers off?
I was happy. It was all done, I guess.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay.
Shana Tova, my subscribers, which means Happy New Year because it is the Jewish New Year. But you know who is not having a happy start to their year? The Phoenix Suns. I cannot imagine a more turbulent 2 weeks for the Phoenix Suns. And here's the kicker. I'm only going to be mentioning the Robert Sarver situation for 20 seconds of this video. From their role players being disgruntled to their biggest signee of the offseason seeming absolutely miserable to be there, this was by far the most turbulent media day I have ever seen from a basketball team, possibly ever. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like and subscribe and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. We upload shorter versions of this content onto TikTok and Instagram. Now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Guys, a couple of weeks ago, we made a video on the bizarre Robert Sarver situation where I actually went through all 43 pages of this investigation and summarized it for you guys in about 20 minutes. And the crazy thing about this is just the tip of the iceberg for the Phoenix Suns. I mean, originally what was thought, and typically whenever a toxic owner is on the cusp of selling their team, which no matter how you feel about the Robert Sarver situation, you have to admit, even prior to this incident, Phoenix Suns fans weren't the biggest fan of Robert Sarver. Typically, whenever an owner sells the franchise or sells a team, or is on the cusp of selling the team, especially if it's in contention, usually turns itself around really quickly and potentially contends for an NBA championship. I mean, obviously the greatest case scenario would be when Joe Lacob purchased the Golden State Warriors, but honestly, the odds of that happening are probably as great as you winning the lottery. But in this case, I was thinking that once the Phoenix Suns move past the Robert Sarver situation, things were going to look up for them. I mean, they were one of the top teams in the Western Conference. Yeah, they were shocked last year in the NBA playoffs against the Dallas Mavericks. Now, since the Robert Sarver situation has unfolded, even before Media Day, the Phoenix Suns have found themselves in some hot water. Yes, this past offseason didn't go how they were hoping. If you guys didn't follow along with what was going down with the Phoenix Suns over the offseason, their primary goal and probably their dream scenario would have been to swing a trade for Kevin Durant by probably dangling future first-round picks and DeAndre Ayton in front of the Brooklyn Nets. The problem was the fact that the Brooklyn Nets weren't going to give up Kevin Durant for pennies on the dollar. It was going to take way more than an above-average center that has perennial all-star potential to get the Brooklyn Nets to move on from one of the greatest scorers in NBA history. And the problem with the Brooklyn Nets and trying to trade Kevin Durant was the fact that a lot of people just didn't see Kevin Durant as the valuable player that the Brooklyn Nets saw him as, and primarily because he's coming off of an Achilles injury, which puts his longevity in the NBA in question, and he is 34 years old. He is going on his 15th NBA season this year, and as a result of that, the Brooklyn Nets had an issue because they wanted Devin Booker included in any package for Kevin Durant, whereas the Phoenix Suns were obviously hesitant to include Devin Booker in any deal and just couldn't work something out with the Brooklyn Nets because they didn't value DeAndre Ayton that much. But things got way worse from there because it wasn't much of a secret in the NBA that the Phoenix Suns were trying to trade DeAndre Ayton. As a matter of fact, last offseason, they refused to extend DeAndre Ayton despite extending his draft classmate Mikal Bridges, and that doesn't necessarily send the greatest message to the former #1 overall pick that was selected ahead of the likes of Luka Doncic and Trae Young, both of which could have really been used for the Phoenix Suns at the time. So you have to bear that in mind going into this media day, because you go look in DeAndre Ayton's eyes, and we're going to show you in just a sec, he's not really happy about how things went down over this past offseason. He doesn't necessarily seem thrilled to be a member of the Phoenix Suns, but prior to media day, there was something that caught my eye that was very shocking, and it was a deleted tweet that Jay Crowder posted onto Twitter. There was a tweet from Dwayne Rankin saying that there will be plenty to watch in Suns training camp. 1, the team vibe amid the Robert Sarver backlash to DeAndre Ayton's mindset, which we'll answer in this video and show you footage of his mindset. Don't worry. 3. Will Jay Crowder or Cam Johnson start? We had the answer to that question as well. 4. Dario Saric's return from injury, and 5. Chris Paul's rest. So Jay Crowder quoted this tweet and said 99 won't be there, and then he deleted the tweet. So later on, we got word from Shams Charania on September 25th that the Suns and Jay Crowder have mutually agreed that the veteran forward will not participate in training camp as the sides work on a trade. Crowder's last 3 NBA seasons have consisted of back-to-back runs to the NBA Finals with Miami in 2020 and Phoenix in 2021, and a league and franchise best 64 wins for the Suns in 2021 to 2022. Crowder has been a key part of the Suns rotation, and the team has gone 115 to 39 in his 2 seasons with the team. So you might be wondering, Mike, what on earth is going on? Why does Jay Crowder want off the team? Is he upset about the Robert Sarver situation? Well, Brian Windhorst, who has been the MVP of this offseason, actually gives us some insight. So he wrote this article, Phoenix Suns in shock as Robert Sarver saga hangs over team entering season. So the article opens up with how shocked the entire Phoenix Suns team was in regards to the Robert Sarver situation.
Stuff going on in the workplace, is really unfortunate. So just like, thoughts and prayers to all those involved, and you try to control what you can control. And I can't speak for all the players and everything like that, but it was tough to read, and it was disturbing.
Before it brings up the fact that veteran forward Jay Crowder asked not to come to training camp, and the Suns announced that they granted the request on Sunday. Crowder was informed over the summer that he may lose his starting job this season, sources said, and it prompted him to request a trade. The Suns had discussions about it throughout the summer, but hadn't found a deal yet. But it seems clear that his time with the team is over. Jay brought a number of intangibles to the team. I think all of our guys would speak in that way about him. At the same time, these things happen and you have to transition and move forward. I totally am behind James and how we are handling this. James being a reference to James Jones, the general manager. Here's how Chris Paul feels about the fact that the Phoenix Suns are moving on from Jay Crowder.
So, I'm not sure what I know is that everybody that's family. I'm always going to support any one of my teammates, especially somebody like Jay, who is a huge reason why we were even successful the past few years.
The article then starts to talk about DeAndre Ayton, which is going to be a very interesting storyline this year because there was a complete lack of enthusiasm emanating from DeAndre Ayton, who signed a 4-year, $133 million offer sheet with the Indiana Pacers that the Phoenix Suns quickly matched. It ended a year-long period of tense talks between Ayton and the Suns over his future, and there seemed to be some scars. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about, well, take a look at DeAndre Ayton's demeanor when they ask him about the negotiations during media day.
Congratulations on obviously getting the deal. Just maybe your thoughts that now that you got that. Maybe what was your initial reaction once the Suns matched the Pacers offer?
I was happy. It was all done, I guess.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay.
So DeAndre Ayton clearly doesn't seem to be very happy with the fact that he is back on the Phoenix Suns. And how could he be? It doesn't seem like the Phoenix Suns were overly excited about giving him the amount of money that they did. But ultimately, you don't have a choice because there's a bunch of needy teams that have horrible records that would love to pay DeAndre Ayton this amount of money and see if they could develop him into a potential franchise cornerstone. Currently, while on the Phoenix Suns, DeAndre Ayton isn't necessarily perceived as a franchise cornerstone, or isn't being developed as a franchise cornerstone. He was prior to the arrival of Chris Paul, but once Chris Paul came along, things kind of changed. At that point, you're trying to compete for a NBA championship. So it seems like things have just not gone well for the Phoenix Suns over the entire summer. First, by not being able to acquire Kevin Durant, which to be honest was a pipe dream at that. And then you have the DeAndre Ayton situation. Then you have the Robert Sarver situation. And then by the end of it, when there's media day, the entire team wasn't even capable of putting on a happy face and showing up and saying everything's good, we're excited about this upcoming season. I mean, I guess I could appreciate the transparency, but you have to bear in mind, usually athletes would do their best to keep these issues within the team and behind closed doors. The fact that the Suns weren't able to achieve that be cause for concern. I'm gonna keep you guys updated on this story, so let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.